You'll be amazed in regards to the people that we have in this community and what you can learn and what they give back to our community. So with that being said, I do have a few little housekeeping things. First and foremost, I did talk about WESC is the organization that brings this event to you, and we do have two individuals in the room with WESC. We have Josie Fries, with the marketing coordinator. She's there. She's everything. She's multitasking. She gave you the wine ticket. She's like putting me in order here with who I need to say and announce. And she's now videotaping me and who knows what else, but she's awesome. And she also emails me and tells me what I need to say. So she's been awesome. And of course, my good friend, Prabha Mitchell, who is the CEO. Prabha, give a wave so everybody can see you. There she is in the back. Awesome. Yeah, she's with my good friend, actually, Keith Moen, who is with the NSBA. He's the CEO of the NSBA, and he is our wine sponsor. So everybody give a big round of applause. My favorites. No, I can't say favorite because we got some really good sponsors here. But going back to WESC, I do have to say that they put on some great informational workshops and events such as this. I've been to a few, and I have to say that I'm amazed what this organization can provide you if you become a member, and they do actually offer it to non-members too. So first and foremost, if you join WESC and Miller Thompson, as we celebrate women and girls around the world, come out for a brunch. This sounds like a great evening. I just got not evening, brunch. Yeah, that's when I eat my eggs and bacon. No. It's a brunch, and it's a panel discussion and a screening of Girl Rising on Sunday, March 8th. Girl Rising is a powerful feature film and a global action campaign for girls' education following 9 unforgettable girls striving beyond circumstance and overcoming nearly unsurmountable odds to achieve their dreams. So tickets are available on the WESC website, so go take a look. So for us ladies who want to do brunch on a Sunday and mimosas, we can do that. This will be a fun night, or a fun night. That's when I eat my brunch, I guess. The next one is Let's Grow. So that's a little bit sooner, March 4th. Join WESC for Let's Grow, their first business sustainability workshop focused on equipping you with skills you need to be successful growing your business. So during this full day workshop, we'll dive into topics that will enable you to drive up your sales, strategize for business growth, and improve your ability to lead a team. Again, go on the website, get more information. As well, I'm very excited about this one because I can't wait to get our bus trip going here, but WESC's 25th Anniversary Awards Gala and Conference. We're thrilled to announce, if you haven't seen it, Michelle Romanoff, I might not be saying it right, Romano, Dragon on Dragon's Den co-founder of Clearbank, sorry, help me with this, I'm Ukrainian, I have a very hard time pronouncing straightforward names, but anyways, will be our featured keynote at the 25th Anniversary Small Business Conference. That is May 21st in Regina. So I will be looking at a whole bunch of Saskatoon people, and we're going to fill a bus and we're going to head down there. And so if you want to purchase your Phase 2 tickets before February 28th, which is, you got a little bit of time for some serious savings, please do that and get to the front of the line to see Michelle. All right, so with that being said, I do want to say, jumping back to NSBA, our wine sponsor, but the wine that you're enjoying tonight, we do have 2 sponsors. We do have Authentic Wine Spirits and Merchants with Patty Olson and Andrew Peller with Cindy Susky. I believe the wine tonight is Cindy. Cindy, you're here. I always say, is Cindy here? Is Cindy Bueller? And she's here tonight. So Cindy Susky, thank you very much. An amazing red blend, Castillo del Almanza. Okay, how about Wayne Gretzky? I can do that one. Wayne Gretzky, Pinot Grigio. That's your white. So thank you very much, Cindy. You're always my favorite as well, these things. Okay, so other sponsors. Our venue, of course, Village Guitar and Amp, Stephanie and Dan. But then now they got their son doing everything. Stephanie and Dan, I don't know where they are, vacationing. They got the son working. So thank you very much for the beautiful room, the ambiance, and of course the sound. Other sponsors that we have tonight, Everett School of Business. I forgot to announce Noreen last time, so I want to make sure that I announce Noreen Mahoney as the Associate Dean. I don't think she's here, but that's okay. I'll just plug her away. Thank you very much. As well as our appetizer sponsors. So you guys and girls clean that food out really well. Uyghur's Financial and Benefits. I think Colton is here. Colton, one of our, right at the front, one of our males in the crowd, thank you very much. Virtus Group, thank you very much for coming on board. Maura Sheridan, you're here as well, always here, right in the back with the other group of winos. I shouldn't even say that out loud. Miller Thompson again. Is there JC or Jordan or anyone from Miller? Okay, that's okay. We'll take your money anyway. And then BDC, Medrian. All right, Kwong, attending in regards to BDC's money, the place where women and entrepreneurs go and get some more money. All right, thank you very much. Our caterers, by the way, were Calories. And am I done? Am I done? Because I really want to get to the main event here. All right, we have some more housekeeping things afterwards. But with that being said, let's get to the main event. And that is JoeAnne Hardy. And I am amazed. Like I said, like I've seen you at events. I have seen you on boards. You know, you get to these big events and you just like knock elbows, but you really don't get to know, oh shoot, they're coming for me. Okay, sorry. Anyways, you go to these events. I see you at these sitting on boards and whatnot. You were on Stars doing the Survivor, raising money for the Stars, and so. But we have yet to really get to know each other. So I do a lot of research. I talk to a few people. They give me some insight, and so it kind of. I was like, wow, why haven't I yet sat down with this lady? She is incredible. So I am so excited to share this story with you and hopefully dive in a little bit more and I'll learn more about you as well. But so far, so impressed. So a little bit of a bio on JoeAnne. So at WBM, JoeAnne is honored to, well, she's a president, by the way, president of WBM, and she's honored to lead an incredible team of over 315 people. It's probably grown since I've read this, but across Western Canada, implementing technology solutions for some of Canada's largest and most progressive private and public sector organizations. Because she works in the tech industry, it might be hard to imagine that some of her most valued skills were learned out in the ranch in Southwest Saskatchewan, but it's true. Growing up on an acreage, hey, I grew up on an acreage too. That's why I think we kind of know each other through, you know. And yeah, watching her parents and her siblings and her friends and her neighbors taught her so many lessons about importance of commitment, passion, and doing what you love with people you love. Oh my God, this just sounds like me. I love you already. It's these lessons that still inspire her in work, and she does inspire her in the work she does every day. It also has contributed to making her a serious morning person. Okay, I'm not a morning person. I eat my breakfast at night, if you haven't heard that already, and a pretty good horseback rider. JoeAnne is honored to have been recognized by the Canadian Magazine as one of the top 10 women in IT in Canada. Wow. Yeah, let's give it a round of applause for that. That's pretty crazy. She also serves on the board of directors for SaskTel, Saskatchewan Blue Cross, and the NSBA, Saskatchewan's Business Association. So she splits her time during the week between Vancouver, Calgary, Regina, Saskatoon, and Winnipeg. So you have a private jet, or you got a little magical closet you go in and you just be there, time travel. On all her travels, she always likes to find new places to run and spend time outside, even in the winter. JoeAnne is blessed to have a wonderful family and loves nothing more than spending time with her husband, Bob, her awesome stepkids, Lauren and Matt, and her grandson, Dominic, who's the apple of her eye. So with that being said, everyone, let's give a round of applause. Let's get to know more and get shaken with JoeAnne. So let's see, which hard question am I going to start off with? No, I don't like to put you on the spot at all.
So I maybe just want to start by saying thank you, and it's a really big deal for me to meet you too. So it is bizarre. I think that we've never, like, officially we met like 5 minutes ago. So thank you for hosting this awesome event that I've never been to, but wow, this is incredible, and thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Well, you're welcome. You're welcome. And again, this event couldn't be possible without all the sponsors and just the people that come. I mean, I was talking to a lady by the name of Jen, and Jen, sorry, there's an inside joke there. I was telling, and she's never been to it as well. And I said, you know, you can go to these big dinners that are 600, 800, knock the elbows, but you really don't get into it. This is what this event allows you to do. So, so here we are. So let's get to know you. So I'm so intrigued by your story and so excited to share it with everyone here tonight. you're a small town Saskatchewan girl like I am and worked on an acreage like I did. So you have that can-do attitude. You find your passion, you roll up your sleeves, you do it the old Saskatchewan attitude way. Again, that's sort of my mantra as well. So 1998, you're a 20-year-old female entering into the IT business, which again, back then was like unheard of. Back then it was more like business equipment, you know, and here's a young female in a male-dominated kind of business environment, I would have expected. And so you're green, you got no direction, no training, kind of a little super frustrated, I would think. So, but you turn it into an opportunity. What did you do at that young age? Where did you find the foresight in that? Because look at where you are today. You are now the president of that company.
Well, okay, so I have to correct you on one thing. Thank you for giving me those 2 extra years, but it was like 1996. So it's okay. Yeah. So I guess maybe just backing up a little bit. I mean, I grew up in Maple Creek, as you mentioned, and I didn't have a plan, right? Like I wasn't raised from the perspective of figure out what it is that you want to do and then build that plan and pursue it. And so when I arrived in Saskatoon, I was, 19 years old. I had no plans to go to university, and I started doing something that perhaps some of you here have done. I worked as a temp, so I was a Kelly girl, and I would get calls from Kelly Temporary Services, and I would go here and I would go there, and it was super fun. I had the chance to meet a lot of people and do a lot of different things, and one day I got this call saying, hey, there's this company called Western Business Machines, and they're looking for somebody they think maybe full-time, but it'll be like a 2-week thing to start, and if they like you, they'll keep you on, and it could be a full-time job. So I wasn't really sure because I was kind of holding out for the job as the receptionist at the vet clinic.
That's the truth. My husband's a vet.
Maybe
there
it
is a
vet after all. Yeah. So I was a couple months shy of my 20th birthday, so I was 19 years old, and I remember walking into, at that time, Western Business Machines. And for those of you that have lived in the city for a long time, of course, you'll know that name. The company's been around for a really long time. Old brick building, we refer to it as a heritage property, across from Earl's Restaurant. So I remember walking in
That's
there.
where I park sometimes at night.
When you go to Earl's, park there. It's okay. Just don't plug in. That was always really irritating to me. But so I had this interview, and the job was, I guess it was okay. I was the assistant to the sales team, so whatever that means. And in general, when I started, there wasn't a lot of direction. And it wasn't like I had this dream of working in IT, and it wasn't even IT then. It was, we sold computers, we sold phone systems, we sold photocopiers. There was, a bunch of things that I didn't understand and that I didn't have a set of instructions. Fax machines, yeah. Yes. Yeah, there were a lot of fax machines. So anyway, I guess from my perspective, when I started, it wasn't about having a specific set of things that I was setting out to accomplish. It was more like get up every day and go to work, and I was surrounded by really fantastic people and figure out how I can make some kind of contribution. And so after 2 weeks, that were kind of frustrating, but I really liked the people. It turns out that they liked me too, because I got an offer to stay. And from that point forward, it didn't really change. WBM for me has been the kind of opportunity where I was able to be given enough latitude to do things that I was super uncomfortable and perhaps highly unqualified to do. And I had the opportunity to take on things and try things, and I worked with a group of people that I don't know if I could say that they believed in me, certainly at the beginning, because they didn't really know me, but that they were willing to give things a try. And From my perspective, when I think about some of those really impactful moments, it was those moments when I was called upon to do those things that I didn't have that instruction book, or I didn't have, it was kind of risky, like things could go really wrong. And that's how it started, and from there it's been an amazing journey, and one that I'm super, super grateful that I can now create some of those same opportunities for our team. So you're right, like the team has really grown. That number is bigger than the number in my bio. We were 364 as of this morning. So the team has really grown and we've expanded. And part of that growth is that opportunity to see that people on our team have the chance to get a little uncomfortable too, right? And to be given that latitude to do things their own way. And our experience has been that usually that pays off. So it's a little bit of a
That's an interesting question for anybody who wants to ask that later, because that can be scary as an owner.
Yeah, for sure.
Allowing that latitude. So, WBM, or Western Business Machines, 61 years, am I getting that number right?
Well, I think the business opened its doors here in Saskatoon May 1st, 1950.
Okay. So, was it the same building?
No.
Oh.
No, I think there's been 4 locations over the years.
So clearly, there's been some change from back in the day. I said selling typewriters, but fax machines, or typewriters. When
Adding machines, right?
Adding
Like think about 1950, right?
Abacus, whatever. Okay, to where it is today.
Well, maybe not.
Selling solutions, selling creativeness, and so much more. Just reading your website has also, to me, was refreshing.
Yeah.
It wasn't about dry product stuff. Like there was some really humanizing in that website that I got to know more. So you are in Manitoba, Saskatchewan, BC. I read that early in the business with every new client, even though this was exciting, it also created challenges.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you know, and how did you plan to grow and scale up your business?
Well, I'll maybe sort of break that down into 2 pieces. So first of all, let's talk about the typewriter and the adding machine thing, right? Because I get asked that question, and like, how do you keep up with technology, or how do you know what it is that people need? And the answer is, like, we don't. So technology is obviously a huge part of what we do, and it's so important. But the thing that transcends time and all of those decades, it's the relationships that we have with our customers, and what we learned early on, and what we believe, and it's so core to our business, is that if we understand our customers and we have great relationships with the organizations that we're working with, it doesn't matter what the technology is, because whatever it is that we're selling today, just like whatever we sold in 1950, you know what? It's not going to exist anymore. So if I build a business or a set of competencies around one specific thing, or worse yet, sit around and try to think forward on what is it going to be next? What do we need to be preparing for? That's kind of risky business. But if instead I focus on our clients, and we focus on where their businesses are going, and we build our practice, and we're willing to walk that road with our customers, they're like our research and development. If we can find out where our customers need us to be, and we can go down that road with them, we're going to be relevant whether the iPhone exists or not, right? We're going to be relevant whether we're using computers, or we're communicating with telepathy. Like there's, it removes that element of risk, because if you're building the relationship and you're with your customer, you can be a relevant, best-in-class organization from 1950 right through to indefinitely in the future, right? Because that's what we need to build the business around. So that's kind of the first part. But then when you get to the part of, how does it work for me when I think about building a business and growing and scaling? You make a comment about, I don't have a plane, but you'll often find me in the airport. You know, you spend a lot of time in the airport when you're, you know, traveling around and doing all of these things. And there was a moment, and I've talked about this before, and there's lots of my friends here, thank you guys for coming, and you've all heard this story, right? Which is that in the beginning, so I started at WBM when I was super young, and we built the business, and I had all these great opportunities, and we reached this point where the owners of the company had come to myself and my partners to give us the opportunity to buy in, to do a management buyout, and we scraped and scrambled and figured out how we were going to do it, and then you arrive and it's yours, and that's pretty amazing. And I mean, that's a story all on its own. But it's 2008. Anybody remember what happened in 2008? So that's our first year as business owners. So anyway, so you learn a lot of lessons, but the whole point, or what at least what I thought the whole point was, is you want to grow this business so you can grow people and do all of those things, and it's supposed to get better, right? You grow the business, that's what you're doing. You get busier, it's supposed to get better, right? Except it was the opposite for me. And I had this moment, we're having a shareholders meeting. So it's myself, my partners sitting around the table, and I just didn't want to do it anymore. Like, I actually felt like if we won the next deal, and the business, everything was great. You know, you look at the numbers are great, the people are happy, we're successful. But I didn't want to win the next deal. You know, I was actually kind of dreading it because every time the business grew, my life got worse. And for those of you that own businesses or that are leaders, you know, if you felt that same way, like, it sucks. And I kind of was starting to think that maybe that's just the way that it was going to be, or maybe that's the way that it was supposed to be, or you sacrifice everything up front and then it gets better down the line, right? It's got to get better down the line. But it was just, it just had lost its, I don't know, I thought that when you would feel the worst was when it wasn't going well versus when it was going well. Yeah. So, I don't know, nobody had ever shared that moment with me before in their careers, so I kind of thought maybe it was just me. But anyways, we're talking about it as a team around the table, and we kind of decided that we wanted it to be a different way. That if there was a way that we could grow a successful business and have our lives get better every step along the way, and the lives of the people that worked on our teams get better every step along the way, that would be the way that we would want to grow the business. So now you figure out, okay, well, if that's the line that we want to keep in our sight, the line of, do we have a good life or not? And that doesn't mean money, right? It means having a good life, having the things that you want, and that changes if your kids are older, your kids are younger, or, you know, the things that mean a good life for me were different than the things that meant a good life for my partners, but we knew that it was just that question that mattered. So we needed to get busy building a leadership team, and that was some of the most challenging, and still is, and most rewarding work that we do. And I've heard people say before, like, you know, I'm not in the technology business, or I'm not in the manufacturing business, I'm in the business of building people, right? People say that all the time. And I think that that's really true, and that when you figure that out, when you start building that team around you of leaders, so not people that are following your instructions, but people that are actually contributing to the strategy and looking for their opportunity, now the business can grow and my life can get better. And if the people around us are focused on doing the same thing, and they're creating teams, and those teams have leaders on them, and there's more opportunities for people, I don't know. Think about the story of my career at WBM. That's kind of what it was until I reached that point where it stopped making sense for me. So if I can do that for all of these people in our organization, and my life gets better and the business grows, like, I don't know, maybe that's what I'm really supposed to be doing. So that's not really a story about technology or a story about adding value for our customers. I mean, that's what drives our business. But maybe it's really a story about just taking a different approach. So this sounds super unsophisticated, and I have Alan is here, and we were talking about getting our director certification. So this isn't in that course. So if you're on a board of directors, this will not be covered. Our shareholder meetings would be, and still are, we sit down, and the first question is, like, how's your life? How are you doing? Because that helps us understand where we need to make adjustments. in how we're working. So it's not perfect, we don't have it all figured out by any means, but that's the guiding principle for us in building the business and keeping it fun, really.
So it obviously worked. Like you found your
It's
mojo,
working.
your passion.
It's working, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Awesome. We have around the table, it's like, what's your word? Like, what's your
Word?
temperature? What's your word?
Oh,
You know?
okay. And that changes for you day to day. What's your word today?
Sick. But I'm having fun. I was looking forward to tonight, so I was looking forward to it. So I didn't take any cold drugs, so I could drink wine and have fun. So that's my word. I'm excited to be here. And you just pump me up. I just love it. I love your strategy as it goes to that. So one of the books you studied and read, which I only took the Coles notes because I started to read the book and oh my God, it was hard, but it was good to great. It's a great book, yes, but I did the Coles notes. And maybe that's why I'm not doing well right now where I'm at, and that's why I have a word rather than, I'm sure as well during the process there were other influences that transformed and influenced your business model to what it is and where it is today. So can you speak of the inspiration, you speak of the being the best, number one, okay, but being the best, and that kind of resonated with me because there's in companies we are number one because we get statistics, you get intel on how you're doing in your industry, but are you really the best at what you're doing? Thought about that. Commitment to your client community, really love that. And you spoke about that. You'll be relevant if you're taking care of your client. You may not know what the technology is going to be in 20 years, but if you're sitting with your client and you're creating solutions and you're there for them, then you're going to be relevant for them. Share with us a bit of the WBM core value and philosophy when it comes to that.
Oh, okay. So first of all, I just have to mention the book. So Good to Great, Jim Collins. It's here's why I like the book. There's a million business books, right? So Google it. It's like, everybody's got an opinion on how you should build your business or what you should be doing as a leader. The reason why I love this book is it's based on research, right? So Jim Collins and his team of researchers studied companies over the long term, 10, 20 years, not short-term success, not charismatic leaders that, crash and burn, or companies that come and go, but companies that were actually built to last and that had certain criteria that were in common with how they were able to be successful over the long term. So to me, that's way more meaningful than the 5 things you should do when you get up in the morning, or the 8 secrets to success in every meeting. I never really connected with things like that.
So those Facebook articles that I
No.
Okay.
So one of the things, and again, it's research-based, that he talks about is about, that the first chapter is all about having the right people on the bus. And that comes down to values. So the question of culture, right? You want to have a great culture, it wants to be fun culture or growth culture, but what I believe is that we can't actually create this culture. How am I going to have a fun culture, right? We're going to bowl every Wednesday, we're going to, I can't dictate that. Or this idea of values. What are our corporate values? We're going to write them down. We're going to put them on the wall. We're going to do these other things. But how does that actually really translate? So here's what I think. I think that every single person that works on our team has a set of values that they brought with them. Not that they got from me, or not that I told them that they should have, but they brought them with them. And all of those values, if you add them all up together, that creates the culture. So in a way, that's super scary, right? Because now I don't get to tell them I don't get to control the culture. The culture is as a result of the values of the people that are on the team. And if I can't tell them what their values are, then it's really up to us to determine how we make the selection of who the right people are to be on the team. So it's kind of a big end run around that question, but to me, we have to think about the people that join our team having the values that we share as people. So the values that we share as people, it's like, how do you describe that? we wanted to put it on the wall. I wanted to have it in a book. I wanted to be able to describe it. You're supposed to know this, right? You're supposed to have mission, vision, you're supposed to have values. Like there's this list of things you're supposed to have. So what are our values? I don't know. I was pretty sure that we had them, but I couldn't describe them. So what we decided that we would do is just ask our team. So we put together, 10 people, 12 people, I can't remember how many people, this was a long time ago, that we knew were WBMers, like that just, we just knew that they were it. If we could have more people like them, it would be awesome. And there were no, like I wasn't in the, it wasn't that I wasn't in a WBMer, but I wasn't in the group, right? I didn't want to influence the group. So they had a discussion about what their values were. And those became our values. So we have a tree. If you've ever been in my office, because I really did want to put it on the wall. If you've ever been in our office, we have a values tree. And it's a bunch of words that this group of people came up with who, are still with us to this day. It's got to be like a decade later. And at the root of that tree is great client relationships. So that's what everybody believed in. And then all of the branches of the tree say different words. So things like, honesty and passion, things that you would expect would be values, but also strange words like structure. Structure isn't a value. Flexibility. Is flexibility a value? Isn't that the opposite of structure? So when you put a group of people together and you ask them these questions and those answers come out, again, you just kind of have to be open to that, right? Those are our values. These are the values of the people that we care about. If we can bring people into the team that share those same values, that they're excited about growth, that they want to be part of the team, that they're looking for their opportunities. So we looked to the awesome people that we already had surrounding us to tell us what those values were that we shared, and then we looked to find more of those people. So today, obviously, I can't be, and it just wouldn't even be reasonable for me to be involved with every new person that we're bringing onto the team. So our leadership team has to be in tune with that, and we have to kind of live by that, because as soon as those values start to shift and we're not all in alignment, then what changes? The culture, right? So that's kind of how we see that part.
Yeah, because that's what I was wondering, and I've asked this question before, when you start to grow, and I said the same thing with Rachel Milkey with Hilberg and Burke, and she's expanding throughout Canada, and the same with yourself, 360 employees, and you're in Vancouver and Regina and all over. How do you keep that culture and not so you just pretty much explained it there, how you have your employees and your leadership team help make sure that there's integrity there.
Yeah. They have to have it, right? Yeah. It's them. It's not me. I don't get to tell them. Yeah. they tell us, right? It's their values, and here's kind of there's a bunch of words. It's a tree. It's on the wall. But
so there was a word that you went, no way.
Well, I couldn't really, right? It's like, I guess I could have, but I didn't.
No.
And if I were to boil it down to one thing, it's like, would my mom like you? Seriously, do you want to work with people that your mom wouldn't like? Like, I don't. Yeah. So I think about that. I really do.
Oh, boy. So at Shaken with a Twist and with West, we do speak of the importance of closing the gender entrepreneurial gap, and we also speak how important it is for men to be part of that solution as well. Thank you, men in the crowd. This is probably one of the highest attended male ones, I think. So I'll be easy on you all. I won't pick out anybody. Alan. We have many husbands and wife partnerships in business. We've spoken to a few, and we have another couple next Shaken that I'm going to talk about later. But in the community, we have, and so you are the president of the company, and your husband is the vice president of the company. So, what is that special sauce that makes this work professionally and personally?
Well, I guess
who tells who got the title? Like, how did that go?
Well, he hired me. So the guy that was looking for a 2-week temp and maybe would keep me on if it worked out. So that's how I met Bob. And seriously, so people like really, it's a real question. They say, I could never work with my husband.
Yeah.
I could never work with my wife. How do you ever make that work? And the answer for Bob and I is, I actually don't know what marriage looks like if we don't work together. Like, because that's all we've ever had, right? So, you know, obviously I didn't know Bob at all when I started it at WBM. And we eventually, you know, I think it was 2.5 years later, got married and celebrated our 20th wedding anniversary last year. So
Yeah.
it's, oh, thank you. I feel like that's an accomplishment. So anyway, I don't know that I'm really answering your question other than to say that we have this shared experience every day, right? We know what's going on, but I could never, and for those of you that know my husband, like, could you tell Bob what to do? Is that even a possibility? I don't know. So it's not about that. It's about, you know, kind of supporting each other. But here's the biggest role that Bob plays for me professionally. It's maybe not what you think. Like, it's not, you know, that he has a series of things he's responsible for. You know, it's actually kind of pulling back from the business in an operational role and has been for the last couple of years. But the one thing that Bob does is he tells me the truth. And when you are building a business or leading people, as many of you are, you kind of have to look for that a little bit because you're surrounded by cheerleaders, right? People that are your friends, everybody that's here tonight, my friends are here, my mom is like, you're doing awesome, things are great. You're surrounded by people that, you know, really want you to feel good and they want to agree with you and they want to tell you that you did a good job even when you didn't. And I want to tell you that that was awesome even when, you know, it kind of wasn't. So when you can find, when I was able to accept the fact that, you know, Bob was that person in my life that was willing to tell me the truth, that presentation actually could have gone better. That wasn't really a home run, you know. Maybe you weren't at your best. To give me that kind of feedback and to be willing to be honest with me, that idea is really stupid, you know. And to be able to look at that as, you know, it's not like we're not going home and having a fight about that. It's like, thank God someone told me. So for Bob and I mean, we met at work. We've always worked together. That's been awesome. He is not my cheerleader and he's not my #1 fan, and that's cool. And I appreciate that and I really value that. And yeah, so, but as far as...
But he did make you president. So.
I guess so. And we don't really think of it that way. Like, I mean, I guess you have these titles and whatnot, but you know, everybody has their role and we support each other. So that's pretty cool. But let's just go back to the question of men for a second, for a minute. There have been lots of really, because that's another question that people ask me. There's this, it's not really so much anymore, but there was this perception that the industry that I was in was a male-dominated industry, and I worked with a lot of men, and I've learned a lot from a lot of men, and I think that support structure is so important, that we surround ourselves with amazing women who can inspire us. For me, it's a lot of the younger women that work on our team. It's like, wow, these women have their stuff together. Like, that's super inspiring. But also, you know, the successful men that have built businesses, that have been through struggle, that are willing to share that. And I've got to tell you that when you can connect yourself to a peer group, so whether it's coming here tonight and meeting people and having conversations, or if it's something more formal than that. Early in my career, I was in a tech group where, you know, people were actually there to help me, and I could be honest about the things that I was struggling with, and it was mostly men in those groups, but over the years I've become connected to lots of amazing women too. So that idea of putting yourself in those positions deliberately, where you can be in that safe space to just talk about the stuff that isn't going right or where you don't know what to do, that is it's really valuable. And I didn't know it until I did it. And then when looking back, you know, I don't know how I would have navigated through half those situations without the support of oftentimes men, but women too, who had already walked through those experiences. So.
Well, awesome, and that's a great piece of advice for everybody that's here tonight as well. So I want everyone to know how much you've been involved, and I know a lot of people that are here in the crowd know you as well, but you've served on many boards, you've given back to the community in many ways. You currently are on the NSBA. I mentioned SaskTel. I mentioned you were on the Star Survivor Challenge, and some pretty impressive positions. We mentioned top 20 most influential women in Canada, the IT industry, but your company as well. So you shared with us your leadership team and the culture. And so with that, the culture and the way that you give back to the community in some really unique ways, well thought out, very impactful ways that many would not even know that's happening in the community. So share with us some of those projects and partnerships that your company has been involved in.
Well, I think our most long-standing partnership, and Cease is here tonight from Vincent Massey School, is with Vincent Massey.
Yeah.
And what an incredible school. When I started at WBM, we had a partnership in place with an organization called Karen Share, and Karen Share, has this great business mentorship program. So businesses can get matched up with schools, and then you have the opportunity to basically, do a couple of things. At that time, so many moons ago, it was really just about serving this amazing holiday lunch. So our staff could go and we could, meet the kids, and it was awesome. But as we started developing relationships with the principal of the school and community school coordinators, we realized that there was an opportunity for us to do more. So, we've had a reading and running program that's been going on now for a few years, and it's expanded now even outside of the province. And we've had fishing days where, they take the kids out and do some fishing. And we've got a great partnership right now with Persephone Theater, where the kids can go to the theater and really just get exposure to, I think, something different and experience the arts. And anyway, so we listen to the school. So none of these things are things that we've, sat down. And when you say it's, it's well thought out, it's well thought out because it's directed to us from, Cease and the team at the school around, the types of things that they think are important and where the needs are. And then it's really our team that gets together around everything from fundraising to, doing the work and showing up and working with the kids. So a member of our team, who some of you may know, Corey Bailey, he's actually on the board of directors for Karen Share, and he's kind of the face of WBM at Vincent Massey, and all the kids know him, and that's really cool. But the one thing that I'll comment with that particular partnership is we recognized an opportunity to provide a scholarship to the kids at 2 scholarships a year for the computer science camp at the University of Saskatchewan. And I'll tell you why I think that this is important, because what you are exposed to and what you see, whether it's a role model or a certain environment, becomes possible to you in a different way, I think, when you're a kid. So the idea of being able to go to the university, when you're in grade 6, and maybe you've never really thought about that before. Maybe you don't have people in your family that are having those kinds of conversations. I didn't have that in my family, right? We weren't talking about going to university. That kind of exposure and that kind of opportunity to see those, these kids go, and maybe they get inspired around what's possible. So we've taken that spirit of actually forming a relationship with a school or an organization into other provinces as well, from the perspective of listening. So our most recent project was with Eden Valley School, which is on a reservation just outside of Calgary, actually in the Okotoks area. And this is a school that has a problem with attendance. I'm talking, 30% attendance. And we did a technology program there with them as a way to kind of just get the kids to want to come to school a little bit more. So these are small things, and I get it. You know, none of these things are like those big, massive moments that go out there and change the world, but they're things that we're passionate about because we can see it and we can feel it, and we can listen to what the needs are out there with some of these cool organizations. So.
No, I think it's amazing. I think it was amazing when if you say it's not, you know, it's not the big things, but you don't even know. Like if you were to follow that kid that you took out to go fishing and what you did and you listened, and to know what this kid might turn out to 20 years ago just because you were there, it's amazing what could happen. So I was just amazed reading a little bit about that. And the partnership with Persephone too, because you did provide Persephone with an upgrade. So it was really interesting how you provided them with solutions as well to upgrade their tech, their sound, their everything. So they weren't running 4 floors up and down, and they could do it on their iPads and everything. But then also asking Persephone to be a partner with you with Vincent Massey as well. Yeah. It's just ingenious. It's awesome. So,
I think that if you open yourself up to, you know, where are there opportunities, it doesn't have to be some kind of grand gesture. So for me, it's a little bit intimidating, right? We work with some really big companies, and these are companies that are writing $1 million checks to big organizations that are making huge impacts in the community. They're building hospitals. They're doing all these things. And, you know, when you're us, you kind of look around and you think, well, we can't do that. And that doesn't mean that there isn't something that we can do and that there isn't an impact that we can make if we, number one, listen to our team. So lots of these ideas come from our team. But just open yourself up to, you know, where might there be something that you're, you know, that you can connect to. And for us, it's kids. So, yeah.
All right, so my last question to you before I hand you over to the audience. So get ready, everybody out there, for some questions. Okay, so do I have this number right? 22 years later, growth and evolution, being number one, but being the best at taking care of your client and the community. What do you ensure? What do you do to ensure with a company that's growing that you're instilling this and living and breathing this in your company? Does this keep you up at night? Are you set up to ensure that everybody's on the same page?
Wow. Okay, well, I will say that I'm fortunate that not a lot of things keep me up at night. I'm a really good sleeper.
You get up early. What time do you get up to work out? I read this somewhere. Like 4:30.
Yeah, between 4:15 and 4:30. But I go to bed super early too. Like I get.
Are we keeping you up? What time?
I did. I had a nap before I came, so I could stay.
Okay.
You know, I think that you know, there's a challenge with that, and we're challenged by that all the time, right? Is everybody on the same page? Are we all on the same page? Does everybody have what they need? And that's just part of it, right? Like I don't think that there's an answer to that. That's like here's the way to make sure that everybody's always on the same page, or that we're all, you know, if the values are there, if we're connected at that level, if everybody really believes in what we're doing, if there are those moments that happen where maybe we're not all on the same page, or a mistake happens or whatever, we can totally handle that. That is not at all what I am afraid of. You know, if we screw something up, the only bad thing that can happen is if we don't come together to figure out what it is that we're going to do. That's the only bad thing that can happen. So we're really driven by that faith and that confidence that together we're better. Like we're worse apart. I'm way worse without the team around me, and I'm way better when I'm surrounded by that team. So as long as we remember that, and you know, when you start to feel disconnected, you know, just find ways to get back on the same page, I guess. I don't know, I feel like that's kind of a crummy answer, especially on the last question, but does that...
No, I really liked what I pulled out of that was basically, you know what, it's okay if things go wrong as long as we're all together on the same page that we're going to fix this. And you got my back.
And here's the thing that we can always be on the same page about, that notion of being the best, and that doesn't mean that we are the biggest. That's really not what it means for us. Like we're not like driving to the $1 billion or something, you know, like that's not what drives us. We want to be the best place to be. We want to be the best partner for our customers. We want to be the offering the best solutions and being the best. If we're all committed to that, then where you're not the best, that's what you need to work on. You know, it's not a quest for perfection or a quest to be the biggest or a quest to be number one on a list somewhere, but you know, being the best means that there isn't a better option. There isn't a better team to be a part of. There isn't a better IT organization to partner with. So that's something that we're in pursuit of. Like, I don't think that we ever arrive there, but if everybody's on the same page about that, then, you know, we can get there in different ways, I think. So.
Awesome. Okay, well, have a sip of wine, because you've been talking a lot, and I've been drinking a lot. Okay. So with that being said, it is time to turn it over to the audience. And so it's a little blinding, so I'm sorry if I can't see who is there, but if you raise your name, or raise your hand, say your name, what company you're with. I think this is a new thing. I want to hear who's in the crowd. So I'll go with, who are you? Who are you over there?
I'm Allison Hunter. I'm on the board of the NSBA with JoeAnne. And you touched really quickly on your work with STARS. And I think it's really important that you should just expand a little bit of what you did with them. And as a person who grew up in a rural community, how much it means to you.
Oh, okay. So, good point. Yeah. So, okay. Well, I want to just go back to how I'm connected to STARS. I am good friends with Andrea Robertson, who's the CEO of STARS. She's an amazing woman, and she is also. You may know these people. You cannot say no to Andrea. Like it's just like it's actually not possible. It can't be done. So when she called me and she said, "Hey, we're doing this event in Saskatchewan. I'd really like you to be part of. It's called Rescue in the Prairies. We're going to take you away in a helicopter. You need to raise a bunch of money before we'll let you come back. Do you want to do it?" It's like, when is it? So anyway, so she told me, and I decided that I was going to do it for a couple of reasons. Number one, you can't say no to Andrea, but number two, it is a super, super important service in this province. So if you think about, you know, you guys all live here, so you know the geographic diversity of where we live. And the thing that matters in a medical emergency is time, right? So the faster that patient can be transported to where they can get the critical care that they need, or even get the critical care in the air, like these helicopters are amazing. This is an organization that it gets 50% of its funding through fundraising, and that isn't something that's known by a lot of people. So those helicopters are only in the sky if fundraising is happening, and lots of that fundraising comes through great corporate donors, but lots of it comes through calendar sales, through events like Rescue on the Prairies, through events like the Gala Under the Stars and these different cool things that they do. And you really only need to meet one VIP.
Hear one story.
One very important patient.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's
to understand, you know, how important this service is. So when I agreed to do Rescue on the Prairies, I was super freaked out because it's a big amount of money to raise.
They get dropped in the middle of Maple Creek, right? Like,
come on! If it had been in Maple Creek, I would have been less intimidated about raising the money. But so anyway, I did all sorts of things. I had tons of support. Like, I'm looking around this room and all of the people that helped me, everything from like making 1 million hamburgers to, writing checks and supporting that effort. And our team, so we had a team of 4, I think, that year. We raised over $560,000 for STARS as a team effort. And
did that buy one plane? I was just at this luncheon. Was that one helicopter, or am I even getting that right?
No, it's like 14 million for a helicopter. So there's a fleet refresh that's underway right now. So
it's very important.
Our fundraising was like for operational expenses. Yeah. So like the doctors and the nurses and the maintenance and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, thanks for the question, Allison. I appreciate it, and it is a really important organization for sure.
Prabha in the back, I believe. Prabha, our CEO of WESC. Come on down.
Yes, and I just want to say that apart from, oops, I'm going to destroy it.
Sorry, there goes.
No,
it's okay.
I just want to say,
No
apart
lives.
from being on all the boards and all this work she does on the community, she is part of the Saskatchewan Advisory Committee. And I remember having a conversation with her about this, and this is the Advisory Committee to close the gender entrepreneurship gap in our province, and she said yes. Mm-hmm. And you have so much on your plate, and we truly appreciate the fact that she's such a committed and engaged member on the advisory committee. So JoeAnne, if you can tell us, the group, because I haven't asked you this question, what it's like to be on that advisory committee, which we've never had something like this in our province, looking at women entrepreneurs. And what is the one thing you think this committee needs to do to close that gap? And we're not going to get there tomorrow. We're not going to get there in 3 years. But what's a pretty good move, incremental move to move that gap?
Okay. So first of all, it's a huge honor to be part of that group. It's an amazing group of women to work with. There's some men on the committee as well, of course. And the work that we're doing is really as an advisory committee to the provincial government to say, okay, there's this massive gap in women entrepreneurs being able to scale their businesses. So what does that mean? Scaling your business, going from 1 employee, 10 employees to 100 employees to exporting outside of the country. There are all sorts of barriers. And, it's a good question. What's like the most important thing that we can do as a committee? There are a bunch of important things to be done, but I think that the most important thing that we can do as a committee is just have that conversation about some of those barriers and get people thinking creatively about how we can overcome them. So whether it's how women get access to venture capital to grow their businesses, there are tons of programs and lots of support that's out there, but how do we connect women at the right point in their business growth to the right program? Right? That's one of the things that I'm learning as I become part of this group. There are a lot of resources that are out there, but they're not always known to the people that need them when they need them. We had a meeting today, actually, and a really good conversation around mentorship and the role that plays when you're scaling your business, right? When you, what is the next thing that I need to do here? What is I'm at this roadblock, or I've hit a ceiling on my growth, or how do I get the funding that I need to expand into a new market? Those are all things that, whether you're a woman or not, having that group of mentors around you and having access to the funding that you need for that it's critical, and we need to have the conversation to connect the amazing women that have incredible businesses out there to the things that they need to actually be able to scale their business. So there's lots of women-owned businesses out there. I think we're kind of past the idea that thinking that women can't do something. I mean, of course we can, but how do we scale and have access to the same capital and opportunities that men do? And there's still a road ahead on that. I'm actually kind of surprised by it in a way, but I think there's positive progress being made. So
thank you.
Thanks for the question.
Okay, there was one more question in the back, I think I saw. Okay, sorry. Name, company?
Leah Legacy with Peter Lucas Project Management. And I have to commend you. Right? You're a self-made woman. You exude a ton of confidence, and obviously have a great support system behind you as well. I'm wondering, what if anything still scares you?
Ooh, good question.
Lots of things. How much time do you have? What scares me? I think scares me.
Sorry if I stumped you.
No. I just want to make sure that I don't give a dumb answer. Giving the wrong answer scares me.
So being vulnerable.
Yeah. I think that the things that have scared me over the years have changed. So maybe I'll start by answering the question that way. Like, I used to be scared of not knowing the name of everybody at WBM. And I said to my partners, here's how I'm going to know when I'm not the right person for this job anymore. I'm going to know I'm not the right person for this job anymore when I can't know everybody's name, know everything about their kids. I'm not the right person anymore. As soon as we get to that stage, they still tease me about this. Like, so do you know that person's name? I'm going to need a minute to think of it. So anyway, I'm not scared of that anymore. I found a way to, again, through our leadership team, feel like, they connect me to everyone, and it just becomes, really challenging at a certain point to know everybody. But I am scared that I might not, that the business might reach a point where it needs something different before I recognize that it needs something different. So there's this thing, it's like a real thing, the imposter syndrome. I'm sure you guys maybe have read about it, maybe you suffer from it, but I've always believed, I'm sitting at my desk, like, one day someone's going to show up, be like, hey, JoeAnne, there's been a terrible mistake. The good news is there's a great job for you. It's just not here. It's not this one. There's been a big mix-up. So I have that fear, that maybe I might not recognize everything that the team needs or that the business needs, and that I might not see that when I need to. So I would definitely, wow, this is like a vulnerable moment. Okay, that's what I'm afraid of. I hope that answers your question.
Okay, I'm going to take one more because then I'm going to do my fun stuff, and then I'm sure JoeAnne will be around for you to ask questions if you have. So one more question if there is out there. All right, Jen at the front. All right.
You said something earlier, JoeAnne, about this needs to fit for our life.
Yes.
So what's next?
Oh. Okay, so this is the part where I tell you how much I love Winnipeg. Oh my gosh. What? I love Winnipeg. So that's our most recent expansion has been into Manitoba, and I had never been to Winnipeg before. So the first time I was to Winnipeg was maybe a year ago or something when we started working on this deal. And Winnipeg has a bit of a reputation, right? And maybe it's not like the most positive reputation, but it's a great city. It's full of awesome people, and I do have to be there a lot. And I'm going there tomorrow, and if things go as planned, I'm going to be there a whole lot more. And the thing that is next for me is always finding a way to have it be great where I am. And I have the flexibility and the ability to be able to do that, which is fantastic. I want to where I need to be. I want to be having a great time there, and I really enjoy Winnipeg. I'm really looking forward to a fantastic
Are you talking yourself into
weekend.
this right now? No, don't get me wrong. I've been to Winnipeg a lot because my daughter was a swimmer, and I did like going down.
Have you been to the spa? Have you been to the Thermea, the Nordic Spa?
Oh wait, yeah.
So you'll find me there on Saturday.
Yes.
Jets game. There's all sorts of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I was just expand.
Yeah.
Okay, 'cause you're like, the hell you're talking yourself. I like Winnipeg.
Great food. Awesome.
Make it positive.
Music, awesome music venue.
Yeah.
So did that answer your question, Jen? Okay. Thank you.
So you're not going to leave us completely, are you?
Oh heavens, no.
No.
I
All right. Awesome. Okay, well, you can stick around and JoeAnne will ask your other questions, but this is the part that I love. This is my fun, crazy questions. This is when you really get to know JoeAnne. Some crazy stuff. So, we talked about how you're past your bedtime right now. So you're religious with your workout regimen. Waking up at 4:30 a.m. That's when I've woken up for the second time to go pee. So anyways. So why is it important? Why is it important to have this regimen to wake up at 4:30 in the morning?
Okay, well, a couple things there. So first of all, I'm like a morning person, so that's my schedule and my routine. Secondly, I absolutely love running. So I am, they say there's like introverts and extroverts or whatever, but I think it's about where you get your energy from. So I recharge my batteries in the morning when it's like dark and cold or if it's in the summer and it's nice, that's okay too. But just being by myself and having the opportunity to have that control of my day first thing in the morning, I can do something that I love to do before I get on the, crazy train of whatever's going on that day. So that makes it, I love getting up in the morning. Like I jump out of bed in the morning because that's when my energy is at its highest. And if you need a decision made and you call me at 7 o'clock at night, like that is not going to be an intelligent conversation. And I know lots of people that are the reverse of that, right? They're just kind of getting into it in the night. So yeah, that's my schedule. But I will tell you that for those of you in the room who've had any kind of health issue in your life or in your family, you come to the realization really quickly, as I did, that health is the one thing that gives everything else its value. So I can have a super valuable business, I can have like an awesome family life, I can have all of these things, but if I'm sick or there's something wrong, there's no value to any of those other things, right? It shifts really quickly to being like the number one thing when you don't have it. So when you recognize that, as I did, it's like, okay, I need to actually take care of that. I need to make sure that I'm feeling good and that I'm healthy and that I've got that part in place, because if I do, then I can be where I need to be for everybody else. And if I don't, then that everything else is going to be not quite as not quite where it needs to be. So.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, I work versus 4:30 a.m. That's my time. But yes, I realize that as well with what you went through as well. So what do you collect? You're a collector of?
I collect, so something that I always buy when I'm traveling, when I go somewhere, postcards. Is that weird? And then I actually send them. So I guess maybe that's not so much collecting them. Maybe I don't always send them like at that moment, but I will buy always postcards, and I like to kind of have them around and then send them in the mail.
They're still making postcards?
Oh yeah, and stamps as well. You can still get stamps. Sometimes they're hard to find, but yeah.
What is your pet peeve? Or peeves?
Yeah, I've got two. Okay, so one is like the open mouth cough or sneeze.
Oh, geez, I've been doing that right now. Don't use this microphone for about a week.
No, I just say that as a joke. My pet peeve, and this is just I have to touch on the technology thing, and I promise to not get on a soapbox, but weak passwords, you guys. Seriously. Weak passwords. If you're out there and you got a password 123 and you put an exclamation mark behind it thinking that was tightening it up, don't do that. You are funding organized crime around the globe with your password hygiene. It just doesn't need to be that way. Okay, so wow, but it just obviously a pet peeve. Sorry guys.
So weak passwords. I struck out on both of those. Okay. I cough openly right now. Okay. What is your hidden talent?
Hidden talent. Okay, well, it's not singing. I don't know. I don't even know that I have a non-hidden talent per se. Like, when you think about like playing an instrument or stuff like that.
Can you touch your nose with your tongue?
No.
Like those type of things?
No. Okay, so a shocking thing about me, I have a pretty keen sense of smell, I would say overall, but I cannot smell, and this is true, and people that know me would have heard me talk about this before, I can't smell body odor. So if you were to have a big workout,
I would love that. That's like a superhero,
it's a superpower.
like power.
It's a superpower. Yeah. So if I run into to you and it's 5:30, it's after your workout, and you haven't had a shower. It's
Yeah,
like, we can
pretty bad.
totally hang out. I can't smell body odor. Oh, that's so awesome. All right. Not the answer you were expecting.
No, I wasn't.
All right.
All right, all stinky people. She loves you. Okay, IT
wanna
tip
know.
for small business.
Okay, IT tip for small business. Okay, so that's pretty easy.
No weak passwords.
Yeah, for sure. But even if your password is strong, so I just have to give a little password speech here. Multi-factor authentication. Do you guys know what that is? It's
Yes.
like the way that if someone steals your password, so even if it is complicated, and someone steals it, then you have multi-factor authentication, and then that means that they also have to have your phone, or they have to, there's a second way to
So, like,
validate that
security
it's
questions like that?
No, well, that's not really. I guess that would be a form maybe of multi-factor authentication, but it's the idea that you log in somewhere with your password, and then it calls your phone. Or you have a separate token that you have to enter. So you have to know something, Shauna, and then you have to have something. So it has to be both of those things. So if someone steals something that you know, they would also have to steal something that you have in order to be able to break into your system. And we see this all the time. The reason why this is like so near and dear to my heart is because it sucks. Like every day, people are getting up all around the world, like thousands of people, and they are dreaming up new ways to break into your systems and steal your information and ransomware your computers. And it's chaos and it's crazy. And, we need to get up every day and think about how we protect ourselves around that. So it's not something to be afraid of, but it's something that I think a lot of small businesses don't actually think about or assess until something really bad has happened. And oftentimes we see that the diligence comes after something bad happens. And anytime I have the opportunity to just remind people that now is kind of the time to think about that, right? What is the state of your backups? Do you have multi-factor authentication? There are really simple things that you can do, not expensive things, simple things that can protect you from all of those really bad people that are out there just trying to make life miserable. That's my advice.
Okay. All right. So I won't be upset every 4 weeks when I have to change my password and ask a million questions on every day. And they don't sync together with every program that I'm in. So anyways,
There
but
are
yeah,
some-
I
we'll
get
talk
it. It's
later.
getting scarier. That is the big thing right now. If you had the opportunity to have dinner with someone, who would it be and why?
Alive or dead?
It doesn't matter. You can have both. Pick one of each. Sure, this is your show.
Okay, so alive, we'll go Chris Hadfield. So first Canadian to walk in space. I don't know if you guys have read any of his books or watched
He was
his
here a couple years ago.
Okay, well, see, I didn't even know that. I could have had dinner with him.
Sure.
So I think he's super cool. I'd love to have dinner with him. And then, I think that in terms of people that have passed on, it would definitely be like, obviously, family members. You think back to special dinners that you've had and just that idea of, like, there just be one more time, like those kinds of things. So, yeah.
All right, last one. What is your favorite quote or sort of a mantra that you might live by?
Mantra that I live by. I can tell you the quote that's in my office. If you sit at my desk and you look across, so it's really just for me. It's not a quote for other people because it's sort of like across my desk, and I look at it and it says, and this is an important one for me: run the day or the day runs you. And I have no idea who said that. I don't know where that came from, but I have to go to work every day and just read that. You got to run the day, or for me in particular, maybe you guys have the same thing, right? I can go to work and you come home and you worked really hard. You were completely wiped out, but you're not exactly sure what happened. What did we do there? So so that might be one thing. I think about that every day. Yeah. Run the day or the day runs you. I should probably figure out who to attribute that quote to, but I'll Google it later.
Awesome. Well, you know what? This was an amazing night. I've learned a lot. I'm sure everybody has as well. So with that being said, can everybody have a nice round of welcome or ending tonight? Thank you, JoeAnne.